curious it is to observe the way society sees sexuality in old age. Many see us through stereotypes, almost as if, as we age, our desires and pleasures have to be kept in a drawer. But I tell you, sexuality is part of each one of us from the beginning to the end of life. And it is a shame to see so many elderly people repressing what they feel or even putting their own health at risk simply due to lack of information and understanding. When we talk about sexuality, we are going far beyond the sexual act itself. It is a dance of different elements. Sex, yes, but also gender identity, pleasure, sexual orientation, intimacy, reproduction. Each of these aspects is unique to each individual, like a fingerprint. Each one feels, thinks, and desires in a way that is only theirs, and that is beautiful. Unfortunately, what I see out there is society trying to reduce sexuality to a single dimension, emphasizing the sexual act while forgetting what is often the heart of everything: affection, caresses, small gestures that share intimacy. All of this is also sexuality, my dear, and there is no age for that. When we talk about old age, we need to make room to understand the profound impact that sexuality has on our quality of life. For many, intimate life still brings that sparkle in the eyes, that warmth in the heart, and even a sense of vitality that makes us feel alive. And this is not something we should feel ashamed to experience, but something that deserves to be celebrated and respected. At our age, sexuality becomes much more than physical attraction. There is a deep desire for connection, to share what we have accumulated of experiences and feelings over the years, and these connections become more meaningful, more intense. They are not just physical encounters. They are encounters of stories, dreams, joys, and even our scars. However, women who choose to actively participate in oral intimacy with their partners, i.e., women who suck their husband's penis, they are choosing an intimate and personal experience which goes beyond physical pleasure, reflecting a desire to explore the deeper aspects of the sexual relationship. And this does not make them better or worse than others, just someone who has chosen to experience an unusual feeling in their relationship. But do you know what's sad? I still see many elderly people living as if they have to forget these feelings or hide them as if they were a forbidden secret. This wrong view ends up leaving many of us vulnerable, whether due to loneliness, fear of opening up to new relationships, or even the risks involved in the lack of information about sexual health. And this, my dear, is a shame, because living sexuality fully, with all the care and respect, can be a source of well-being and even longevity. Furthermore, understanding and accepting our sexuality also means accepting that affection is not limited to physical caresses. There are moments of intimacy that are found in a look, in a long hug, in a conversation that seems to have no end. These little things are as valuable as the most intense moments, and that, believe me, has no age. I understand that some of you may feel insecure, even unable to relive or experience these feelings. Perhaps they think that advanced age, body changes, or even what society expects of us can mean the end of these emotions. But let me tell you a secret. The human heart is made to feel, regardless of age. And it's this ability to feel that keeps us truly alive. Many may think that time has taken away from us that ability to fall in love, to desire, to allow ourselves to live new experiences. But let me say that this is just an idea that has been imposed on us, an idea that we can challenge and change. Life can be sweet, invigorating, even in old age, and we have the right to live it that way. Allow yourself to feel, even if at first it seems like uncharted or scary territory, because you see, age only adds more stories and depth to our love, to our affection. If you feel that the body no longer responds as before, know that this is natural, but it is not the end. There are so many forms of affection and love that do not depend only on physical vigour. It is possible to rediscover the pleasure in touching, in looking, in sharing simple moments. Often the tenderness of a hug or the intimacy of a heartfelt conversation can touch the heart more deeply than anything else. The trajectory is about self-knowledge, patience, and above all, permission. Give yourself permission to explore these feelings, to find joy and warmth in moments of affection. What matters is that these feelings exist, pulsating within you, ready to blossom if you let them. Ah, dear, the nature of our body also brings us challenges and changes, and this is something we need to understand in order to live fully. In men and women, old age brings different physiological changes, and understanding this helps us to have a more compassionate and healthy relationship with our bodies and with those of our partners. For us women, the body speaks in other ways over time. One of the most striking changes is the decrease in the hormone estrogen, which is so linked to reproduction. With this, menopause arrives, and with it some hot flashes and a decrease in vaginal lubrication. They are adaptations of the body, like a new rhythm that we need to learn to dance. And I can say that, with the right care and a little patience, it is possible to continue enjoying intimacy even with these changes. I remember that affection and partnership can work miracles, softening these challenges. For men, on the other hand, the scenario is also different. Testosterone, that hormone that has always been linked to strength and vitality, begins to decline. This can affect both reproductive capacity and the intensity of erections, something that often generates insecurities. With changes in muscles and bones, the body asks for new rhythms and a calmer and more careful approach. This is natural, and it does not mean that pleasure or love ends, but rather that they need to be lived in other ways, with new sensibilities and discoveries. And look, there is a difference in the way men and women see the sexual act at this stage. For many men, sex is still very much linked to the idea of power, to the strength of virility, and it is common for some to fear that they no longer live up to this image of macho that society expects of them. Therefore, they end up looking for ways to reaffirm this position, for fear of being seen as less or not meeting expectations. For women, however, the meaning of intimacy can change in a subtle and charming way. Many of us have come to value even more the company, the affectionate touch, and the quiet presence. On the other hand, there are those who still want to live their sexuality but feel impeded, fearing being judged, labelled with inappropriate terms, as if they were a fiery old woman. And how many women end up abstaining from these feelings for fear of what others will say. I want you to understand, my dear, that sexuality at any age is worthy of respect and freedom. Our desires and our measures have no expiration date, and it is possible, yes, possible, to live these moments with the same intensity, although in a different way. It is important to understand that while these changes in the body and emotions exist, they do not have to be barriers to intimacy and pleasure. With a little adaptation and understanding, it is possible to circumvent these transformations and rediscover new ways of experiencing sexuality. For women, for example, decreasing vaginal lubrication can be a challenge, but there are solutions. Using a water-based lubricant, which is safe and easy to find, can make a huge difference, making the intimate moment more comfortable and pleasurable. In addition, looking for forms of stimulation that involve affection, massage, and subtle touches helps to arouse and maintain interest, favouring desire and emotional connection. In men, the drop in testosterone and changes in muscle strength may seem like an obstacle, but it's important to remember that pleasure isn't just about a single experience. There are other ways to enjoy intimate contact, and often they prove to be even richer and deeper. A slower pace and appreciation of the present moment bring an emotional connection that often goes unnoticed in youth. With this, what could once be a problem makes the experience even more special. Believe me, my dears, communication is the foundation of intimacy, especially in old age. Over time, we have learned to recognize the value of talking truthfully and empathetically. It's like opening a window to another, allowing them to see what we really feel and desire. And believe me, this genuine exchange can transform any relationship. Many of us have been taught not to talk about our needs and desires, to keep to ourselves what we really feel about our bodies and sexuality. But if we want to live this phase of life to the fullest, we need to strip ourselves of these ties. Talking about the changes in the body, the desires that we still pulsate, the fears that may arise, all this opens doors to a deeper relationship where the other becomes a partner on the journey. When we are able to express ourselves, we are saying to our partner, "I trust you." This creates a safe environment where both can be authentic without fear of judgment. For men, for example, sharing insecurities about decreasing testosterone or changing the intensity of erections can be a great relief, and often these conversations bring solutions together. For women, expressing what menopause brings differently to the body and what can make the intimate moment more comfortable can be transformative. Remember, communication doesn't have to be just verbal. Often, an affectionate gesture, a look, a longer touch, says more than 1,000 words, and these moments of sincere connection strengthen the relationship in surprising ways. Now, we are also going to talk about something that is fundamental: hygiene. Many avoid this subject, but it is essential. Maintaining good hygiene is a sign of respect for yourself and the person with whom you share your most intimate moments. In old age, the body changes, sensibilities increase. We need to take care of every detail. I'll show you practical and effective tips to keep the intimate region always clean and healthy, preparing the body for pleasure without giving up safety. And now, as a wise old woman who has seen and lived many things, I leave you with some sincere advice on this topic that we touched. Value what you feel. Don't let society dictate what you should or shouldn't feel. Desires and feelings are part of who you are, and they deserve to be respected and lived. Take care of yourself with affection. Respect your body's changes. Look for what brings you comfort and pleasure, and adapt to what is new. Intimacy can be reinvented and still be wonderful. Don't be afraid to seek support, whether it's a doctor, a therapist, or a support group. Seek help if you need it. Often, the right orientation helps to overcome insecurities and live sexuality with health and joy. Appreciate the emotional connection. True pleasure comes from the connection you build with each other. Sometimes it's in a gentle touch or a moment of shared laughter that we find what's really worthwhile. And remember, it is never too late for love and affection. As long as there is life, there is the ability to love, to connect, and to be enchanted by the other. Allow yourself this joy because love is the best company for all stages of life. To live fully is to allow the heart and body to experience the joy of love and intimacy. May you take this advice with you and continue exploring this phase with an open heart and full of affection. Finally, dear ones, remember that life is to be felt. We age in the body, but pleasure and love never grow old. Our desires may adapt, but they don't disappear. Intimacy in all its forms is a celebration of everything we experience, Taking advantage of what life still has to give us is a choice. May we continue with wisdom, with the right care, but without giving up what is good for us. Let's make our time an experience of love and joy with all the flavors it offers. And so we conclude this conversation about intimacy in old age, a topic so rich and full of nuances that it often remains silent. Do not let prejudices and external limitations define how you should live this phase of life. Remember, pleasure, love, and connection are ageless gifts, and as long as there is a willingness to live and experience, there will be new avenues to explore. And if you also feel that these reflections brought value, don't forget to leave your like to support the channel, subscribe and activate notifications to follow our next conversations, which will always bring more deep and real topics about life and health. Oh, and share this video with others who might benefit. After all, everyone deserves to know the beauty and possibilities of this phase. In the comments, tell us what you think of this video and leave the name of your city. We want to know how far this message is reaching. And before you go, don't miss the next video, which is now appearing on your screen. It brings a theme that can further transform the way you see health and intimacy. Click and find out.